How you all doing, folks, and welcome back to another ALCHEMOTO garage series. And on this one we're going to talk about auxiliary lights or spot lamps for your motorbike. Now, as you all know, some bikes have them fitted from standard. Brilliant idea if you put them on from the factory, but in my case on the Pan America you don't. And to buy auxiliary lights for my motorbike, say I bought some standard Harley Davidson Daymakers 3-in-1 lights plus the extra Lume at £130, you're looking at nearly £700 plus for a pair of auxiliary lights for your bike, which is way out of proportion unless you've got that sort of money flying around in your back pocket. Also, if you go the DENALI route, DENALI, don't get me wrong, are brilliant lights, but again, very expensive lights for your bike. So is there a cheaper option out there? I may have found it, but we'll bring you closer and show you guys what I am going to fit to my Pan America. And don't forget, these can be fitted to any motorbike in question. Let's take a closer look. Okay, folks, so these are from Colight, although on the box they are classed as MOTOLIGHT lights for your bike. It shows them fitted there to a GS on the front cover, but of course these are auxiliary, so we can fit them to any bike we want if we get the supplied Loom. So we'll run through that with you. So in the box, okay, so these are the JGMF01 pair of lights, and you can see that they've got the white and the yellow beam as well. So we've got 3 to 5 times in brightness stronger than the factory halogen, long distance 10 times in distance than the factory halogen, universal fitment, can be fitted cars, trucks, motorbikes, SUVs and engineering vehicles. So okay, what have we got here now? 300% increase in brightness, 70% in energy saving, and 50,000 hours of light. Okay, so when I was looking at lights, and don't get me wrong, I do my homework, and I do my homework, and I do my homework again. I read every review possible. Now, Colight. This company contacted me about 12 months ago and were offering me a set of lights for my Pan America, but I didn't like the ones that they were offering to do under trial. So I asked for another set, which is not these ones, by the way, but they weren't on their promotion, so I never did the review from the ones from Colight. So I have purchased these myself. I am not going to be getting any monetary benefits from these whatsoever. This is purely my choice. Okay, so you can see they've got the beam thing on there, convex, with the LEDs behind it. There's 2 LEDs fitted. They're a cracking little aluminium frame, no problems with that whatsoever, and the wiring here. Okay, and it's 3 wires. You've got your earth, and you've got 2, I'd say the 2 laser, because you've got one for the yellow lens and one for the white lens on here. Okay, so in the box they do come with supplied brackets like so, and then these can be bolted onto here, and then there's a sort of a swivel mount, so you can mount that on there and it will swivel. So you can mount these to crash bars. But what I found is I didn't have the room on mine to have them in the exact place. I needed more throw on the bracket. So what I did is looked on Amazon, another favorite place where we like to shop, and I purchased these. So these little babies can go on the crash bars, but you can also swivel before you lock that up and then swivel again. And the beauty about these is they come with the same fitment for the same location on the light itself. You can see that. Brilliant. So that allows you to put them on here. You can swivel the light any direction you want to line it up on your bike. Upwards and downwards movement, or side to side. So these, I think they're about £15 for the 2 brackets in aluminium. Nothing wrong with those. Just make sure you Loctite every one of the bolts up when you put them on your bike. So I'll show you where I fitted the bracket on my Pan Am, and then we'll show you the wiring. Okay, so hidden down in the depths of my crash bars, you can see here, I've got this cover over here where my indicators are, which comes down, and then the crash bar comes underneath that and then down here. So for me, it was ideal to put them just in here. I'll just make a little note that there's a little bit of paint chipped off one of the brackets here, so the paint isn't the best, but I'm going to touch that in with a bit of satin black. But apart from that, for the price of these, for about £15 a pair for the brackets, not a problem with the quality whatsoever. So all these are Loctited in now. I've just got to put the other one on. then you can see the light just down there. Brilliant. So that is where I'm going to mount my lights. Obviously that's the nose cone off my Pan-Am, so all my wiring is going to be tucked away under there on completion as well. So we'll just run through the loom with you now. So of course, when I ordered the lights, I didn't order the auxiliary loom at first, and then I thought, well, hang on, we've got a yellow beam, we've got a white beam, dual beam and flashing beam. So to have a single switch would have been a little bit awkward to have all the functions of the lights. So I went onto Colight's site and I ordered the correct loom for these lights. I'll put a link up for it now, which is about, I think with the import duty and everything, postage, about £30. So for the price of the lights, that's about £30 for a pair of lights. We'll just get that one in there plus the loom. It's about £60 all in for a set of lights with the loom. Unbelievable. So even if I got 12 months with these lights, I'd be happy, because I'd just buy another pair of lights and I've got the loom, the brackets already there. So we'll see how they go, but let me show you the loom. Okay, so this is the loom, and it's well worth getting because you've got this little box of tricks here which all the wiring goes into. So you're going to have a little maybe relay circuit board or something in there, so everything's taken care of, and then everything comes out of there to the respective places. Now also on here you can wire this, and you've got an overtaking light, a flashing with horn as well, and the ACC one which you need. Now these two here, I'm not going to use them. I'm not going to wire that into the horn, and I don't need the overtaking light. So these two are going to be cut off just after here and taped up. Okay, now the only thing is, when I bought the loom, it did come with the plugs on here, with these waterproof plugs. But what you didn't get on the back of the light is the plug on the back of the light, and they weren't supplied with it. So that was a little bit disappointing. I think if you bought the whole lot from Colight and ordered the loom, I'm pretty damn sure you will get the other plugs to go into here as well. But I've cut them off, because underneath that is only the 3 wires which correspond to the 3 wires on the light. So we're just going to solder them and heat shrink them up so they're nice and watertight and secure, as good as can be. But we need to put the loom on first, so we know where we're going to cut the loom, so it's all neat without having too much excess wrapped up underneath the bike. Okay, now also on here, this is your switch. So we've got the light switch for white, yellow and then flashing. You've got, I think, 3 different flashing modes on this as well. So brilliant if you're no one wants to be broke down, but if you're in a position where you want people to see as well where you're riding, you can have them on a slow flash or a fast flash. So you can use them as a hazard light when you're riding, or off the bike if you're parked up doing something off the bike if the weather's not so pleasant. But to just show that your bike is pretty visible, they have put that feature on here as well, which is pretty cool. Okay, so they supply 2 brackets with the switch to put on your handlebars. I think this is the one I'm going to go for, mounted under my switch gear on the back of here. They supply the 4 screws to go into, and then put that onto your bar somewhere on your mirror mount, something like that. So we'll go ahead and get this loom on the bike and show you the lights wired up. Okay, so it's time to solder the spot lamps now. We've cut the wire in and put the loom as neat as we can for both lamps around the crash bar, just leaving enough to solder them and then tuck them back and then cable tie them out of the way. But I will say my favourite soldering iron here that I'm using is a Nimrod 100, Solder Pro 100. And I've got 2 snap-on soldering irons at work, and this thing beats the snap-on ones hands down, and it's about £30 in a box with all the nozzles, attachments and everything you need. So about £30. Like I said, this wasn't given to me, I bought this years ago, and it's my favourite soldering iron. Spot on. So all we're going to do now is put the heat shrink on the top here over the wiring, warm that up, and then we'll wrap some cloth tape around it. Okay, so when you get your soldering done and your heat shrink over, all we got to do is warm these up. So you're just taking the end off your soldering iron, put it onto flame, and then shrink those over. Nice, tidy job. Just like that. So we'll tidy these up now with some cloth tape, do the other side, and then we're ready to put the switch gear on. Absolutely love cloth tape. I use this on all my wiring jobs. It gives a factory appearance. It self-amalgamates and closes up around the loom and just gives you a nice tidy job. Okay, and it's got a little bit of waterproof properties as well with it, so it just helps to keep the moisture out of there. Okay, nice tidy job. So again, we'll do the other side. We're going to cable tie that out of the way. And then we've just got to do the wires for the switch gear and the auxiliary and the live power. Okay, so there's two ways to wire this up. It shows us having a battery positive and negative, but then you're permanently. So if you forget to switch your lights off, they're always going to be permanently on. There is an ACC wire though, which you have to wire up for the lights to enable the lights to work. What I've got on the Pan America, and I'll show you if you've got a Pan America, is the auxiliary switch under the seat, which the factory spot lamps do actually plug into. And I've bought the auxiliary plug and wired USB charging sockets in there. It also has a spur off there to power my AOC Apple CarPlay unit, Android Auto unit. But what I've done is I'm splicing up to use the power off that then to power the spot lamps, because we've only got a short loom as well. There's going to be no problems and it's going to handle the wattage fine from these lights. So we'll bring you closer. Okay, so under the seat, in my case, you can see we've got these plugs here. So this middle one here is your auxiliary one. So you can buy this plug to plug into there, and then I've put an auxiliary loom in here. So one of them loops back and it goes to my USB charging device, which is under the seat here. And then there's a spur off, which you can see coming around here, which goes underneath the bike. It's underneath the tank and then comes out at the front of the bike. And you can see where I've cut them, wires there ready to go into. So that's my auxiliary, which goes to the rear of the bike, and then that is ignition on only. So off the main loom with the spot lamps, this is what you're getting. So you've got a fused, live and earth. And you can connect these up, but the lights are not going to work unless you also wire in the ACC. So the way I'm doing it is it's ignition for all of them, but I have to splice that and wire that in to my positive so that they will work just with the ignition on only. Okay. Okay, so I'll do this quick because the way I've got this wired into the auxiliary is that if the battery senses the voltage lower than a certain point, it will actually turn the lights off, which on the Pan Am, that's a good thing. So we'll just switch these on and briefly go through them, and then we're going to turn the bike around and open the garage door. I've got a dark area over the road and see how far these lights flash. So hold them on. Orange and white. So if you've got the orange on and then you put the flasher on, you can have it flash in independently, alternatively, and then switch to white, and then you can do the same again. So that's pretty cool. Like I said, I think you can have white and amber on at the same time on the main beam. Okay folks, so you can see I've got the main beam on here. I'm going to switch the main beam off. It's the main beam off on the Pan Am. Main beam on, and let's go for the new lights. Fog lamps, driving lamps. So you can see the difference in the spread, how the fog lamps rise, and it is actually still quite foggy outside tonight, but the spread on that is absolutely amazing. Switch them off. Pan Am's main beam off. So if you look in the distance at the fence, it's not even touching that. put the main beam on, you see how narrow the spread is on the bike's original lamp. It's that on, it's a fantastic beam, so at least I am going to see where I'm going from now on. Overall, I am super happy with those. So there you go, folks. How cool are those for under £100 with the wiring loom? Okay, I bought some extra brackets off Amazon, but still that was just to make it a little bit more user-friendly for me to install where I wanted it on the bike. But I'm really impressed with them. Like I said, I have no sponsorship with these at all. I bought these out of my own pocket. There's no affiliate link. I could do that, but I'm not going to do it that way. I'm just trying to show you guys that there is a cheaper alternative to some of the other high-end lights on the market. How long do they last? I don't know. They claim 50,000 hours, which is quite a long time. Depends how long you've got seat time on the bike. But I don't care. If I get 12 months out of these, I will buy another set. The wiring's in place. I can pop them on and ride on for another 50,000 hours. It doesn't matter. But from now on, I'm impressed and I'm super happy with those. And I can't wait to test them out in the dark and in the fog. We've got the winter camp in Scotland, remember, coming soon, I think. So we've got that to look forward to. And hopefully get out and ride the Pan Am tomorrow, where it's been foggy the last 2 days in the UK. So I'm hoping it's going to be foggy tomorrow. Let's see. But for now, thanks for watching, folks. Until the next time, we'll see you later. And remember, if this is your first time watching ALCHEMOTO, please do hit the subscribe button. Please like, share and comment if you dare. But until the next time, folks, I'm signing out. We'll see you later.